wow. Ooh. The girls are fighting this week. The girls are fighting.
And the amount of times I went during this episode.
Baby, we'll talk about it. I am excited to talk about it. But hello. Welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. And you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan River. Say something gay. I have my beautiful iced coffee this morning because necessary. It's hazelnut vanilla because that's what I felt like doing today. And since David is not here, I'm very excited to show off my cute shirt because good morning, Kingdom. I'm wearing my Corey King shirt because obviously. Hello, obviously. And I had to pair it with a hat from one of my favorite Filipina divas. I'm wearing my Bernie hat today as well because it went with the theme. We're feeling very pink today. We've got the pink tumbler. We've got the pink microphone, the pink glasses. Love pink, mostly for representation because we'll talk about it. But why weren't all the colors on the Monopoly board available to be chosen for this design challenge? I'm frustrated about that, so I'm repping for my favorite color on the board. I always take the pink properties when I'm playing Monopoly. So,
suing the pink.
Love pink. But you know what else I love, River? A cup mug.
Oh, of course.
And you, obviously, but my cup mug.
But first, cup mug.
You can get your cup mug, all of our other merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link is down in the description below. We do ship domestically within North America and internationally, so there are no excuses. Unless there are some excuses, then there are some excuses because there are some excuses.
Hi, I'm River, your Brazilian correspondent here on The Cup. And today it is so incredibly hot, so I had to grab my largest mug to drink some water, honey, because Lord knows I need it.
Ugh. I am right there with you as well. It is not that hot because I live in the northern hemisphere, where it is cold, thankfully, this time of year, and I embrace it with every fiber of my being because it doesn't happen for that often.
Doesn't last long.
It doesn't last long at all. Oh boy, this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race was a lot. I also forgot to put us in our blue. We have to be in our blue today. Because we are talking about season 17 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Episode 3. We are making a splash on MTV. We are not on MTV, but that sounds fun. That'd be very fun. No, this was a very fun episode of television. We are diving in. We've got a design challenge as the first major challenge of the season. Somebody did go home. We'll talk about it. I'm depressed.
I'm in denial.
I am also kind of in denial. Unfortunately, denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay. But you know, we're going to talk about all of it. There's several gates to talk about already. The girls are already gating. I'm excited to talk about it. So we're going to dive in. Before we do, though, make sure to subscribe if you've not already, because we're here almost all the time giving you almost all things drag race, interview things, all things drag, almost all things drag. Currently, that means season 17. That's weird.
And Drag Race UK content. Period.
Yes, we've got DragCon UK content coming out.
Did I say Drag Race? Anyway, yeah.
You did say Drag Race. I was very confused for a second. I was like, season 7 of Drag Race UK is filming right now as we speak.
No.
But we don't have any content for that yet. But we've got a bunch of fun, lovely drag things coming shortly for you all as well. And make sure to check out the description below where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, and our Patreon for exclusive content and early access to a lot of fun content that we will have throughout the year. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of fun things happening. But yeah, so we come back into the workroom and no one went home. And the girls are
plucked.
Now,
Plucktina, Corey especially. I mean,
my God.
and I live.
Oh, I live. I want to say, because I wasn't here last week to talk about the talent show, that I agreed with a lot of what y'all said, but I also disagreed with a lot of what y'all said.
Ooh. What specifically?
Because for me, and we'll talk about it because we got the full Rated Queen results in this episode too. I can't wait to talk about that when we get there. But I think I had a different top two from anyone else. Because my top two from last week would have been Lexi and Anya.
Actually, I've been thinking about it since.
Yeah.
And during the episode, during the recap, when we were talking, I was like, no, actually, because I always take my notes like with my initial reaction when I'm watching the episode, right?
Of course, yeah.
And then when we come here to talk about it, sometimes when I hear other people's opinions, they talk about things that I hadn't
or
thought
the more
before.
that you think about it,
the more that I think about it.
Yeah.
Yes, and like versus my initial reaction. So like I put those two things together. And then during the recap, I even changed my mind and I said, like, no, I would tie Anya for second with Crystal. Yeah. But after the recap and watching the talent shows again, I was like, wait, it's a week later and I'm still singing in. Like,
right.
Still.
And the other thing is the major shift that I had, because when I did my Rated Queen results last week, because I did them before not ultimately showing up for the podcast, I had Crystal 6th because I was not feeling it originally. And then when I tell you all of this week, I've been singing that damn song.
The song is good.
Well, I found out. I don't remember if y'all talked about it in the recap. It was produced by Andrew Barrett Cox, who did Let Loose and did Jantasy. So of course it's catchy. It's catchy. Like, shout out to Andrew Barrett Cox. We love him. But yeah, I would have had my other major shift is I would have had Crystal 3rd.
Yeah, when I think about it now, like if I were to rank it today, I would also. Like it would be Lexi, Anya, and Crystal. Period.
And then Corey for me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. She was perfectly in the middle for me, truly. Like the Ice Cube, I'm still thinking about the Ice Cube in video.
Oh,
I mean, it's in my head.
I love every moment of it. Girl. I love every moment of it. But yes, we come back in after Hormona didn't lose the lip sync, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, I think Hormona won that lip sync last week, but that's just me. But obviously we're gonna do the production stunt of the girl that RuPaul invited at his book tour going home in the first episode just to be miraculously saved by the Madonna dunk tank.
Just to make the girls even more plucked that she's there. Because now they're not plucked that she's there, they're plucked that she's still there.
And honestly, I'm living for it.
And it was so funny because Acacia is the person that I was like, I understand why she's mad. Because she was like, I won that lip sync. And then Hormona won a trip to Vegas after she lost the lip sync. Exactly. I'm like, I understand being mad in the moment that Hormona is still like wasn't eliminated. But then like it's whatever, you know what I mean? It's because we kind of expect those kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
But I understand her being plucked that even winning the lip sync, she, like the person that lost, got an award.
Oh, yeah, no.
Got to stay and got a trip.
Right, literally. Yeah, no, I definitely understand why Acacia was plucked, for sure. I would be. The rest of the girls, just like, I love how petty this Corey versus Hormona situation has become. And
they didn't get plucked. They stayed plucked.
We're staying plucked, and I love it. And I love that Corey is so plucked, and Hormona's like, well, I don't really particularly care that she has an opinion on whether I'm here with her busted zippers. I was like, ooh.
Hormona said, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Give a damn. Literally.
Literally.
I do love though that the line of the episode, and I don't know whether this is going to become one of the catchphrases of the season. Lana walks back into the workroom and goes, "All we can do is laugh."
Like, right? It's so unserious. It is so unserious.
It's so unserious. And I'm living for it.
And this season kind of feels like the vibe of the cast is very unserious, and I live. I live.
Chaos, confusion, ruching. We'll talk about it.
Messy.
Boots. Oh God. I do love though. We get a moment. Everyone's congratulating Lexi on her win. Yes, mother. And she has a really sweet moment, and she did last week as well, and I absolutely loved seeing it, where she was like, I didn't realize how much I really needed this validation. And so to get the validation from her sisters as well was a really, really big thing for her. And she won an award, and I was like, yes, you did, Lana. Yeah. And you're going to win this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, okay. I'm going to say this right now.
Speculations.
I don't... this is speculation. This is my opinion. I think all of these girls are fun, talented, lovely, maybe except for one of them. Not going to name names. But for me, this season for me feels like season 15. I feel like we already know who is going to win 2 episodes into the season. I think it is being 100% telegraphed that Lexi Love is going to win this season. And I'm not mad at that in the slightest. In fact, I'm thrilled because we've seen the fan reception. We've seen just how much love she's gotten. We see how much love she's giving into the world. Like, for me, it feels like the storyline that Sasha Colby got. It just does for me.
It's winner energy.
It's winter energy. And there is winter energy coming from a couple of the other queens for sure. I'm seeing it with Sam. I'm definitely seeing it, honestly, with someone like Arietti. I see it. I think there's a couple of girls that are rising up in the ranks. I think Miss Butthole could, stand a good shot at, making a deep run in the competition. But for me right now, it just feels like this season is kind of Lexi's to lose.
Yeah.
And I'm again thrilled.
And at the end of the season, as we go through it, I feel like it can go either way. Like, we can be gagged with something that happens. Like, for example, for season 16, I didn't necessarily see Plasma as a winner, but I definitely saw her as a finalist, like, right away. I had that feeling. And we were gagged, and she went home like mid-season. Yeah. So I feel like that can happen, but I honestly, like, maybe Lexi won't win because they want to bring her back for All Stars or something. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Or maybe she will win because they want to bring the runner up for All Stars. Like, you know what I mean? Production reasons. Yeah. But I feel like if Lexi ends up not winning, I don't see a finale without her for sure.
100%.
Like, maybe she won't win, but I think she's a definite finalist. Like,
Lexi, there's 2 people right now for me that scream finalist energy, and I don't see a finale without them right now. And it's Lexi, and honestly, Jules. I think the amount of screen time they're giving are Miss Jules Espartelo. I'm obsessed with her. We'll talk more about her.
I'm living for my sister. Oh,
I live. But we also get Lana calling out Joella for being a little, I'm gonna say a little bit.
answering her question.
For answering her question.
For answering the question that was asked directly to her. I'm like, okay, can we move on, please?
That's the thing with this season. That's the thing with this season that makes it so interesting already, is that there are so many girls, and I would put Joella in that. I would put Hormona in that. I would definitely, after this Untucked especially, I put Crystal in that group, where like the girls are not afraid to say something when someone's not there, and then also say the exact same thing when the queen is there.
Yep.
And I live.
living
I
for it.
live.
And I think it's like it's both at the same time. I feel like it is real, but I also feel like they are very aware that they are making TV. So like a lot of things they didn't necessarily have to say, but they
Yep.
said it because they want to give us great TV. And I feel like as fans, we need to appreciate that. We can have our opinions, and I do
Yes.
have opinions, but
Yes.
at the end of the day, the girls probably are all, if not friends, at least like good with each other. You know what I mean? So let's just enjoy good TV. And well, I mean, I don't know.
Cordial at
Anyway,
best is what it seems like from preseason
coworkers,
stuff.
coworkers.
Coworkers at best.
Yes, yes.
And then I
Like,
love that.
like, let's not. We don't need to be
Right.
bringing anyone down because of things we see on the show. Like, let's just talk
Right.
about what we see on TV and leave real life for them to resolve.
Right.
It's not
And
our
then
business.
And then Hormona and Joella have a little bit of a spat for kind of no reason. And I love that Hormona comes back at Joella saying, with your uneven hem, with your tag sticking out because it's clearly off the rack. I was like, baby, in what universe is what Joella wore last week off the rack? And I'm not saying that because it looked expensive. I'm saying that because it looked like shit.
Well, I'm not denying that. You said it.
I'm not either. So we go to the next day in the workroom. And everyone's like, oh my God, do you think we're doing Rata Queen this week? And Corey goes, no, in the name of me, Corey Andre Charles, no.
Seriously,
my God.
If this season is unserious, Corey is the king of unseriousness. Truly. I mean,
Corey is every good part of Plain Jane in a better body. In a much better body. Like,
the energy is everything to me. Like she knows
so
what's happening.
Unserious.
It's very self-aware.
It's so self-aware.
Yeah.
So self-aware. It's like, I love Corey, obviously. Hi, I love Corey. I've got a Tumblr on the way from her.
Clearly.
I can tell she's not winning this season of Drag Race, but I'm just along for the ride at this point, and I'm living.
But hey, she's doing the Monet. She's doing the Monet. She's coming in with the talent, maybe not.
Do we think she'll be fixed?
Runways, and then she's gonna come to All Stars and
hey, I could see her being 6th place this season. I could see her making a deep run.
Yep.
Especially if we have like
narrating the season, like she gives, yeah. And the talking heads as well, like very good. So
absolutely.
I think like productions that gonna wanna keep her if she's doing well enough.
Yeah.
She's gonna go through far.
Yeah. My favorite part of this entire workroom situation is throughout, the girls are coming in, then Ru comes in, we get the maxi challenge. Lexi just has her brown cow stunning eye patches on. I'm like so unserious, and I live.
Made it fashion.
Have we seen a queen like full on just like not give a fuck that much?
I mean, I can only think of Venus on Philippines when she came in a towel.
Yes.
It's giving that.
It's honestly giving that, and I live for it. I live for it. But we find out that our maxi challenge for this week is the classic design challenge. Thank you.
Can you say it again? What is it?
Monopulized.
No, you said design challenge, right?
Design challenge.
Not sewing challenge. Right. I just want to make sure.
It's a design challenge. Correct.
It's a design.
Yes.
Right. Got it. Mm-hmm.
We are designing. Designers. We're designing.
The critiques are about the design.
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 Let's keep that in mind that we're designing.
Design.
But yes, we are. I was gonna say, thank God, thank you, Drag Race, for not doing a ball. Thank you you so much. I'm excited to see the ball later in this season. I'm thrilled, in fact, that at least there'll be a few less girls. Hopefully, who knows? But
that we don't have 40 looks to talk about. Thank you.
Maybe it'll be 36, and you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that. Honestly, I will. I'll take 36 over 42. I'll take 33 over 42. Genuinely. Thank you. But we are taking inspiration from the classic board game Monopoly. And we are basically dividing the girls into color groups, very similar to what we just saw on Down Under with their color groups. We've seen this kind of challenge happen a lot over the years on Drag Race. My biggest critique with this challenge and the way it was set up is, why are not all the colors represented?
Maybe because of the number of queens, and that they wanted to do like the same amount of queens per color.
But they didn't. That's the thing. There were 4 groups of 3 and 1 group of 2. So here's the thing. Take out the brown properties because they're the cheapest. Nobody needs that. What they did basically is they took out the 3 cheapest colors on the Monopoly board.
Maybe it's because they were giving the girls money. So I think they didn't want to give the girls like $25. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
Maybe
but
that's
then
why.
I also like, but then they got rid of 2 of the best colors being light blue and pink. And I'm like,
right. Who knows?
Who knows?
Truly.
I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, so all the girls are going up, pulling a property card, and then whatever property card they end up with, that's how much money they get. And I'm like, cool. I do kind of love that this is just, and the color. And I love that this is just a sweet way to give the girls money. I'm not too mad at that.
It's kind of a way of doing a sort of mini challenge without doing one. Like integrating it into the maxi challenge, because they didn't just pick like they also had like go to jail or like steal money, like all like the little things.
I'm gonna say this. It felt very Drag Race Down Under when we just had that like trivia challenge that turned into picking the materials for the design challenge, where Brenda Bress got that horrible tie-dye. That I'm still not over, Brenda. I'm still not over this.
Picked, not God. She picked.
She chose. She had options, and she chose
choices.
The tie-dye. She chose it. Ugh.
I love that you're not over that yet, but I honestly same.
Have you seen her recently? She's fully like started diving into bearded drag, and I love it.
Oh. Yeah, but I'll check that out. That's interesting.
Go follow Brenda Bress on Instagram. She's great. But yeah, so we end up with our color groups. We have blue, which is the only group that has 2, obviously, because there's only 2 blue property spaces on a Monopoly board. So we have blue being Sam and Crystal. After Crystal stole Boardwalk from Lana, and then Lana stole half of her money.
Mm-hmm.
I lived. It felt very All-Star 7. Oh, when
yes, very that.
Love you,
the wheel.
But the wheel.
Yep.
And Evie just kept getting.
Kept losing,
losing. And then Viv finally won money. Oh. Love Viv. Love Viv. But yes, we have Sam and Crystal in blue, Jules, Anya, and Joella in green. But don't forget the Ella. Don't forget the Ella. We have Acacia, Corey, and Lydia in yellow, Lexi, Lucky, and Hormona in orange, and Lana, Susie, and Ariete in red. Now, River, what color of these 5, what color would you have wanted?
Honestly, with knowing the materials that they had, either the green or blue.
Green, 100% for me. Green.
Green,
like, I would have.
But yeah, that green velvet was so stunning. So stunning.
Oh my god, it was so good. I would have loved either the light blue or the pink on the Monopoly board. Let's make that clear. Or even brown, because brown is an interesting color to work with. But of the 5 available, also knowing the fabric choices that they got, which, can we give them some more fabric, please?
There was not
like more things. Like it,
not just fabric, like, because we'll talk about it, but like more options of things. If they can't,
so that the girls don't have to use their own rhinestones.
Like, exactly, or steal someone else's. Like, please, let's. Anyway, We'll get to that.
No, I definitely would have wanted either the green. I really like the green. I would say the blue as well, actually. Yeah, I really liked the materials that Sam and Crystal got for blue. So I definitely would have gone green or blue myself. So we're starting the challenge. We are seeing what the girls have as far as sewing ability, as far as construction ability. And we hear something from Lucky that we don't hear very often because we know she's a crafty queen. But she's like, I'm very used to working with unconventional materials. So having to work with pretty fabric is completely out of my box. And I find that really interesting because it's usually the opposite.
Yes. But that's the thing, as somebody that is learning to sew and is not crafty, I know that the skills that I am learning for sewing, not all of them will transfer to doing something crafty. It is not the same skill.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing that that both have is just your eye. You know what I mean? Like your brain, your creativity, your ideas, your vision.
Yeah.
But the way that you're gonna execute that, it's very different for those two
and she even says in her walkthrough with Rue later, like, I'm an artist and I use these brushes. And I'm just the kind of artist where I haven't used those brushes before. And I'm like, I get that completely.
Yep.
I still hope, and hey, I'm not a drag queen. I'm not here to harp on anybody's abilities. I just hope that future season girls do actually, like, y'all know a sewing challenge is coming. Y'all know there's at least 1 or 2 sewing challenges. At least have a basic pattern that you know and you can embellish on. Like, and that's where, honestly, I really appreciated Corey coming in saying, I am known for a short dress. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to skate by because I know this isn't my forte. And honestly, I respect the hell out of that.
Yep.
Did she deserve the placement she got this week? Yes, we'll talk about it for me. But I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. If you know,
then she didn't end up like wasting time figuring out like all of the things. And she was just like, okay, because that's how I work as well. Like, what do I have? What materials do I have? What is my style? What can I do with the materials that I have for what I'm being asked? And it's still me. Like, and I feel like, yes, she kind of played it safe, but she could have pushed a little more, but also maybe if she pushed more, she would have been in the bottom. You know what I mean? Like it's very, you don't know. But I feel like
there's
you
a clear
need to
and
play
reasonable
to your best. You know what I mean?
There's a clear and reasonable expectation on Corey's abilities. And I appreciate someone that has a clear expectation. Like, I know what I can do and I know what looks good on me. And that's what I'm going to do.
Exactly. And
It's not like
part of being smart is also knowing what you're not good at and working around that. With the time that they have, they can't, like, yes, in the long run, you should like try to hone the skills that are
of course
necessary to you. But in that moment when you have a day, like do the best that you can with what you have and what you know.
100%.
Like if it was me, I'm working with Velvet right now and it is very hard. I find it very difficult. So if I was on Drag Race, I would try to not pick Velvet because I know that I have a hard time with that, even though it looks great. So like that, you know what I mean? And learn how to make like the basic thing, like an inside seam and the trim, like I forgot the English name for it, but like the bottom part, like the
hem.
The hem. Everywhere you look, there is not a hem.
The hem.
But yes,
literally.
That's it. Learn how to make a tube dress, babe. That's it.
Or even
a tube dress.
Someone said it in this episode. Like, learn how to use a hot glue gun to hem your dress. Like, if you're not gonna sew a hem, like, at least know how to do something. But
work around.
But yeah, Lucky talks about not being a sewer. Susie talks about not being a sewer. Joella says, I may not sew, I may not do hair, but I am a sickening drag queen. To which I said,
I don't cook, I don't clean. Well, I'm not going to speculate on that. She is, though. What I will say, she is giving great TV moments. It's very entertaining. I will say that.
There are several other
For
people
me.
that people thought were going to be the delusional queen of the season. I'm happy to report not any of them. It's Joella.
Yes, I agree.
It's
But to
Joella.
me, in a fun way. Like I'm having
Yes.
fun watching her being delusional. I'm not mad.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
good.
There were a lot of fun workroom moments, River. What stood out to you as far as some of your favorite moments from the, and I'm saying before, it could be before Rita Queen, but I want to talk about Rita Queen.
Okay. Yes. So it was one thing to me. It was Joella was kind of like lost and she went to ask Akeshi for help. And then Akeshi said, "What do you need help with?" And Joella said, "Everything." I was like, that is so funny. That is so real. And it was just I love that. It was so good.
Everything.
Everything. I'm like, girl,
I
pick
mean,
one struggle
yes,
to start with and then build on that. Everything.
that part. And then Acacia, I'm living for Acacia because she kind of gave Joella like the shadiest advice where she
I
was just
live.
like, yeah, you should use this material, girl. The hardest material
The
to work
hardest
with.
material. Uh-huh.
Now, Miss Acacia.
And do a bodysuit where you have to do a crotch, like baby, doing a crotch, like pick
I loved
something
it.
easier. Like, oh my God, it's
I love that in the walk
honestly.
through with Rue too. Rue was like, "Oh, so you're doing a bodysuit again?" And then in the background, you have Corey just going, "A bodysuit," and then cuts to confessional, and Corey goes, "What?" I live. I
So good.
live. Oh my god, I lived. I loved Lexi and her moment of clarity that she got, and
Uh-huh.
she was like, I'm gonna take this bolt roll, and I saw this thing in a fashion show one time.
And it was
I
fierce,
saw
and I'm gonna do it. Like,
I saw this one thing this one time, and I'm gonna hope to God it works. I'm like, Lexi.
I love that. She was like,
Oh,
I
I
love
live.
the confidence of being like, I had an idea, I'm gonna run with it.
Right.
Also, if it didn't work, she could have worn what she made without the bowl and like just the train or cape behind her, and it would have been
Yeah.
she would have been safe, I think, still. So like even if it had
Mm,
worked, she maybe bottom safe, but still safe, I think.
yeah.
Anyway, for me, but yeah, I just love that
Um.
she just had the idea and ran with it, no question.
Right.
Like,
Right. Um. Yeah, we find out from a lot of other people too. Hormona's done a lot of sewing. She used to do costumes for theater, so she feels very comfortable in this kind of challenge. I love to see it.
different levels of skills, but like nobody was
Yes.
really absolutely like horrible struggling like to the point like yes
Uh,
people struggled but like everyone was able to put something together, you know what I mean, the
sure.
way they like how it looked, you know what I mean, but it was together, it didn't fall out on the runway, it
True.
was, you know what I mean,
True. Yeah,
presentable.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Presentable, yeah.
Um, I
The
do love in the
struggles, some were
walkthrough.
funny and some were sad, but
Some were funny and some were Joella's funny. Lucky's not nearly
devastating,
as funny.
devastating. Oh
Devastating.
my God.
Um, so we also get the Rue walkthrough, and we love that she's living for Butthole.
Hmm.
Where I guess she is just calling her Butthole,
I mean,
and I kind of live.
I live.
She is living for Miss Anya Last Nerve. And I
Mhm.
live for that. I kind of hope that Anya changes her name to Anya L Nerve, Anya Last Nerve, because I kind of like that a little bit better as a drag name. Um, but yeah, we also get Sam talking about how she learned to sew from her grandma. She's really excited to show off her skills. We get Arietti saying she's going to go a little bit more Latina in her, concept because she got red. So why not?
Yes. She got the
If you got
color,
red,
run with it, you know? Yeah.
exactly. And this is where we
But, like,
get Yeah. This is where after RuPaul walks in, we do get the Rated Queen results.
As she's leaving, she's like, oh, wait a minute. Let me just throw this at you because you don't have enough going on already.
This is the dossier that Tia Coffee has been holding onto for a year now. I'm so happy we found it.
Oh my God. I just love
What's
that. Like,
in the dossier? The Rated Queen results.
It could have thrown, I think maybe it did throw some people off, like, but it did move things around a little bit because they were working on the garments already, and then they had to stop to RuPaul and then discuss the Rated Queens and then go back to focusing on what they were doing. Like, if you're mentally not really together, it can really throw you off. So I feel like it was a little like it added to the competition. I feel like Ru also wants to see who can keep it together and keep it moving. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's talk about the Rated Queen results, River. So we find out the full rankings this year. It's not just where everybody placed overall, but we're getting the actual real for real voting results from the Rated Queen. Gagged to the gag, and I loved every moment of it. Yep. So we get our week one results. We do have Miss Susie Toot overall winning the Rated Queen in first, followed by Jules. Lucky in third, broke my fucking heart because I wanted her to be in the top, but that's fine. We then get Arietti in fourth, followed by Lydia, Joella, and Acacia.
Yes.
None of that surprised me, I'm going to be honest. I don't know about you, but none of those really shocked me all that much with the knowledge that we had.
Exactly. Like with knowing that Lana put Arietti first to save her, I figured that she wouldn't be in the bottom three.
Yeah.
And I figured that with Acacia being the last one, Joella was right after her. So I kind of
100%. Yeah.
The gag though was that before they saw week two, they already like when they showed Arietti, they were like, "Oh, Lana, you put her first. So you're what's going on? What's going on?" But then after they put everything together, like, "Oh,
and then we get the week two result. We do find out that Luxie, Jesus Christ, words. Luxie. Lexi was first in the Rated Queen, period.
Yes.
Crystal did come second, obviously. And Miss Lana Jarre comes third.
Gag. Gooped. I mean.
Gagged to the gag.
Also, again, because I knew Arietti put her first, I knew she was not going to be like in the bottom two. I thought she might be fifth or fourth at most.
Agreed.
But I was gagged that she was third. Like,
we then get Sam Star in fourth, Anya Nerve in fifth, Corey in sixth, and Hormona in seventh.
Well, but wait, because when they showed Susie the first, they showed that like everyone put her like first or second or like up, and Lana put Susie fourth, and Susie was like, "Baby,
fucked.
What do you mean?" And Lana said, because there's two people that she didn't want to see in the bottom. And I'm like, yes, that's valid. That's valid. But like Susie was gooped. It was so funny.
And then I also love just how gooped Sam was when we get the results and she sees that who was it? Lydia?
Somebody put her like
Lydia.
Or
Lydia put her last.
Oh, last. Okay.
And to be fair, I also had Sam Star last in my Rated Queen results.
Oh, okay.
Personally.
I think I have her. I have her fifth.
I had her last. So, I just did. I just wasn't living personally, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But Sam is a little gooped. Sam is a little gagged.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that Sam was like, "So you thought I was the worst?" And Lydia was like, "Well, no. Well,
yes.
I just wasn't living for your routine as much as the other divas." I was like, okay.
Not worst, just least favorite. Very that.
That's how I feel about it too. It's like I don't think she clearly didn't do bad.
No.
I just feel like everything we saw, we've seen done better by someone else on Drag Race. That's honestly what it is for me. But
also Anya being fifth
where?
was like, what is going on here
Where?
on this day? Where?
They're on my nerves.
Why? What? How?
I don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it.
And the one person that was plucked with the results that I feel is the most valid in being plucked is Anya. Truly.
I agree.
Because, okay, if I was there, I would not expect people to judge this fairly, and they don't have to. Everyone can vote however they want to vote. But if I got the critiques or comments, because they didn't really critique, but like if I had the reception that Anya had from the judges and from even the girls, like everyone was singing with her and like enjoying and like loving it. And then like I don't blame the girls for voting the way that they did, but if I was Anya, I would also feel very much the same way that she did, truly.
Well, and that goes back to something that Anya said at the start of the episode that we didn't talk about, where Anya was like, I realized now there's two different games that I have to play this season. There's the game that I have to play in the workroom with the girls, and there's the game that I have to play with the judges. And I feel like this is the first time we've had someone kind of like openly acknowledge that that is how Drag Race works now.
Or that production let us see. You know what I mean? That she spoke.
Right.
She spoke about it, and we got to see it is the first time. But I am sure she's not the first to put that together. You know what I mean? But the exposed of the strategy is the first time. Yes.
Right.
But like mostly for the first 2 weeks, like yes, throughout the season, but like when there is Rate a Queen involved, that is what you have to focus on because that's the game, you know?
Yeah. So after
also
we get,
Joella, I don't know if you clocked, because I was like, wait, there's something else. Because we had the like Lana complaining that Joella didn't compliment her on the performance. Like Lana was mad that Joella answered the question honestly, and said that like if it was her, like that that Lana gave Joella her flowers on the first episode and all of that, and then we saw the ratings, and then cuts to Joella in confessional, like, okay, so Lana, you wanted to give me my fucking flowers, and then behind my back you rate me low as fuck. Real. Clock it. I love that. Because like I love Lana, but I prefer a bitch that is real to my face, that says the same thing to my face that she would say behind my back. I like that.
And that's why I'm living for the girls that are giving like just straight opinions. Like Joella is giving straight up opinion, Hormona giving straight up opinion, Crystal, we'll talk about it later in this episode, but
they are being blunt.
And I'm not mad at it.
I'm
not mad at it, but
it's good. Yeah.
All right, River, we got to talk about Trimgate. Here. So we got to talk about both the gates. This is our gate.
Let's do Trimgate first, and
yes.
Okay.
So we get Miss Jules Sparkles talking throughout the episode about how she's doing some ruching. She's ruching her fabric. David, I know you're listening to this. David, what Jules did, that's ruching. We've been on a journey with David, trying to teach him what ruching is. David, what Jules did, you see, next up, Ruche Sparkles.
No, next up for David, shoes. Noticing the shoes. That's the next lesson.
Thank you. Anyways, yes.
Ruching, done. Next, shoes. Anyway.
Thank you. And we'll talk about some shoes that did not work on this runway for me. But yeah, so Jules is doing her ruching, and she's ruching, and she gets the crossfade, and she's ruching, and she's ruching. And we get this moment where Anya is asking Jules for help, and Jules is giving her help, and then asks about this very specific, I'm gonna be real honest, very specific ugly green trim. The trim's not even cute.
Yes.
In my opinion, the trim's not even cute. But I get it.
And the wide, it's cute, and the close-up, it's not. I'll say that.
But the materials they gave them were not cute. Let's be real.
I mean, exactly. They want you to give opulence with cheap. Anyway, yes.
They went to Joann Fabrics, and that is what caused Joann Fabrics to.
It was Marshalls.
No. This challenge is causing Joann Fabrics to go bankrupt. That's what's happening.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what's happening here on this occasion.
But yeah, the trim. Because, okay, I just want to say, I loved, because the first thing I wrote, I was like, I love that Jules is helping Anya.
Yes.
Because, like, I don't like when I see queens doing stuff for the other person, but like helping, explaining, or like showing the person how it's done so that the person then can do it themselves. Like that type of help,
Right.
I always love. Or like helping with like the design, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you should put a sleeve here, or like do that, whatever. You know what I mean? Giving ideas.
Yeah.
That's fun, and I love seeing that between the girls.
Yeah.
And then it just took a turn I was like, baby, after she helps you, you turn around and mama.
Yeah, so
baby.
Jules finishes up her ruching, turns around and finds out that Anya has taken the trim.
No. Before that, Anya came to Jules' station, saw the trim, and asked directly,
yeah, I thought
are
that.
you going to use this? And Jules said yes. And then after Jules said that she was going to use it, she took it anyways. Like, off her station. Girl. I understand if she hadn't asked and she was like, oh, you didn't use it, so I'm going to take it. Or maybe, and if she had taken some, you know what I mean? And left, like, not everything, not all. You can take some and share. Sure, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But after asking, that's shady. That's shady. I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So Jules is in her feelings. She decides she's not gonna bring anything up that day.
And I get that because two things. First, when you're mad, maybe it's not the best time for you to confront someone because you might say shit that you don't mean. So I understand Jules not wanting to speak up right when it happened because she would have wasted time that she needed to finish her assignment, and she might have, in the heat of the moment, said stuff that she would regret. So I do not judge Jules for not saying anything in the moment.
Agreed.
But we'll get to what happened later because I have other thoughts about that. Well, anyway.
Well, I was gonna say, do we just want to talk about that now?
I think so, because there are other things that happen in between, but since it's the same subject, it's gonna So like later, because this was on the first day, and then go ahead. The next day.
We go to the next day in the workroom, and we get our cute little. I love the chismosa corner. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay. Look, as a Latino person, I live when I see things that are truly I see in Latino culture. That's not just like you're saying that it's part of it. It's just like it actually is, and it's very much that. Mm-hmm. I lived.
So we get our chismosa corner with Jules and Arietti. I love this little friendship that's developing. The most unserious ever, and I live for them so fiercely. But they're talking about who they're worried about, and they're worried about Acacia. Shocker. I was like, cool, Acacia reference in this episode since she didn't get a whole lot of screen time. But Jules is telling Arietti about the whole situation that went on with Anya. Anya like overhears it.
2 steps away.
2 stations away.
Right there.
So Anya goes, and she's like, I just want to say I do apologize for using the trim. I should have asked, blah, blah, blah. And Jules is like, but you did ask. And I said no. And Anya's like, well, we're all supposed to be sharing these things. So I took it because, I should have said something, but you did. And they end up just going at each other. I lived.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so here's the thing. I think Anya being annoyed that Jules was talking about her right next to her, like she wasn't there, like overhearing. And I understand, and I honestly would be annoyed at that. And I would be like, hey, I heard what you said, da 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 da, whatever, explain. Okay.
yeah.
But in my honest opinion, if it was me, like for me, Anya is in the wrong. And here's the thing, after it's already done, there's nothing that she can do to change what she did. I honestly just wished that she would just say, like, hey, I did do that. It was wrong. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Period. And it would have ended there. And I would have been like, you know what? Okay, maybe in the heat of the moment you were nervous because
Yeah.
you felt like you were not doing that well, and you took it in an impulse, whatever, and maybe you do regret doing that. But then don't make excuses for something that you did wrong that you shouldn't have. You know what I mean? I just wish that she would have just like owned up to it and not, first of all, try to excuse it. And then when the excuse didn't work, she used another excuse. And at the end, the excuse was that she felt like she needed it more than Jules. So it was okay for her to take something that's not hers.
And
Like,
because
that's not
Jules
how
had
it
been doing all of
works.
this, and because Jules had been
I
doing all
understand
this
she had to.
ruching, yeah, because Jules had been
Like,
doing all this ruching, she was like, "Oh, I didn't think you needed it anymore." And it's like, I mean, honest,
but the
let's be
trim is
real.
the last thing that you do. You need to do the ruching first so you can put the trimming in the ruching. So you're not going to
Agreed.
use the trimming until, anyway.
But remember, Anya has a degree in material studies, but is not familiar. She's familiar with the machine, but this is her first garment, so she didn't know that. River, you got to keep that in mind. No, I'm kidding.
No, yes.
I'm being facetious here.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. For me,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think there could have been an easier way um to resolve the whole situation. I also do understand, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second because I do think Anya was in the wrong here. I do also want to keep in mind that we have heard from Anya on several occasions so far this season that she doesn't have the best working relationship with drag queens in Cleveland. She's not, she doesn't have that kind of sisterly connection with a lot of these girls
Well, I
yet.
can
Like
see
they're
why.
coworkers. Well,
If
okay.
you act like that, like, yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I know.
She's my
I mean,
point being, she is on a little bit of a defensive. This is not a challenge that she is particularly she's not particularly adept with. She was nervous about her design, made a mistake in the moment. I do wish she had just owned up to it as opposed to, having this argument with Jules. I do wish that had happened, but I
and
do
then she got mad.
understand.
Like,
Yeah.
she got mad at Jules. So
Yeah.
I know what you're. I know.
Yeah. It's a
Like
layered
the thing.
situation.
Yeah, I think the point is like, we can think that what she did was wrong and that she was in the wrong and was defensive and all of that,
Mhm.
but let's not judge her on that alone, is the point,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's more layers to her. Like, I don't see Anya as the one thing that she did that I didn't like. I see her as everything that she has done, which are things
Yeah.
that I like and don't like. So it's, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna see her as just this moment, is my point.
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
it did leave a bad taste in my mouth. I hope that next week, maybe not in the heat of the moment, because maybe she acted like that because she did feel defensive in that moment. I hope that we get that she, like, the next day regrets doing that and maybe like clears everything out with Jules. I hope to see that because I don't, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, but yeah.
I do. I agree.
And Jules was very patient in this moment, because if it was me, I would not be able to keep my calm the way that she did when someone was like so strong and wrong and then getting mad at me for pointing it out. Like, I do not do well with that. So Jules,
Yeah.
goes to you, mama. Truly.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the less interesting of the gates we got this episode, that being Rhinestone Gate. And
Less
I had heard
consequential, I think.
the
Because it was interesting.
much
Yeah.
less consequential. So we come into the workroom the next day, and the girls are getting ready. Hormona is plucked. And at first, we didn't really realize why. we find out that Hormona had used some of her own rhinestones that she brought from home and overnight had embellished the gown, obviously put lots of work in. And Lexi had found out that she had used her own rhinestones and told production about it. And production, it called it out. And production told Hormona that she wasn't allowed to use the rhinestones that she brought from home. So she had to spend a lot of that morning before the runway taking all of the stones off of the gown.
Undoing all of the, like, it's double the time, you know what I mean? Like, doing and having to undo something, like, you spend double the time to just have to.
Especially when we know that the girls don't have that much time to get ready on Drag Race. Yeah. Like, we know that they have, like, I think they have 2 hours.
Hopefully it's something that, like, she's good at, and it, you know, like, the sewing and everything, so, like, everything was done, because a lot of the girls get there when they need to get ready and still have to finish the look.
Yeah, no,
so it seemed even like less time.
It seemed like her garment was completely done.
Finished.
That's at least that's what I got from it. Yeah. But
and I understand her in the moment being plucked or mad at Lexi in that moment for doing that. But at the end of the day, Lexi is right. You know what I mean? If it was, because we don't know if Hormona really misunderstood the assignment and truly didn't know that she couldn't do that, or if she knew and did it anyway because she didn't think she was going to get caught. We don't know. I think it can be true. But with either situation, Lexi is not wrong for calling it out, even if it wasn't honest mistake.
No. And the other thing is, had she walked down the runway with that garment with her own rhinestones on it and RuPaul called it out, that would have probably immediately put her in the bottom.
If no one had called out and then they found out after she already did the challenge, she could potentially have been disqualified.
There could have been a series of things that happened. So honestly, it's probably for the best that this happened the way it did. Yes. Because then it's not RuPaul calling it out. It's one of the other girls calling it out.
And you still have time to fix it. So
exactly. There's still time to fix it. There's still time to rectify all of it. So, you know, I get Hormona being angry for sure.
At that moment, but like, she was mad at the messenger for the message, but after she was like, okay, I don't need to be mad at Lexi. I'm just mad that she was just mad that she had to do all of that.
She had to undo all of it.
It wasn't about Lexi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love Lexi being like, girls, do you hear me? I'm ready for someone to go home.
I love Mother.
So real.
So real.
I love her.
And then they were also, she was talking, her and Sam were also like talking about how they were used to, like, they started drag basically, like doing drag out of any and everything. And I love that Lexi connected with Sam in that way, in an unexpected way, because with Sam being a pageant queen, like, Lexi's first impression wasn't that they had that in common. And I love that they did.
Line of the episode when Lexi said, you know, when I met Sam, I really thought she was riddled with she-devil blood. Mama. But now, getting to know her, I'm a Sam Star stan. I was like, Miss Love.
Bringing it up, she was able to sneak that in twice.
Again. I love the way she is taking every opportunity possible to shade that woman is everything to me. I love Mother. I love Mother for that.
In a very subtle way that only people that know about that specifically.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And
the girls that get it, baby.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I live. And then
when they were talking about like doing making bracelets out of like tape rolls, like after the tape is over, like I live.
Yeah, all you have to do is cover it in a little bit of fabric, stone the fuck out of it, and it looks like a fucking bangle.
And it's thick and like enough for you to yes.
Yeah.
The real.
So yes, very, very that. We also get amongst the first day and the elimination day, Miss Lucky is struggling. Miss Lucky is struggling. She's getting like periodic help from Lexi. She does not know how to work the sewing machine. And Lexi's like, baby, you're not even going through the fabric. And then at one point, Hormona's like, Lucky, are you good with a sewing machine? Because you're stressing me out right now and you need to go to plan B. And then even Arietti comes in and tries to help her like get this like patterning down, and she's not getting it, and she's not getting it. And then we see on Elimination Day, she's getting ready with Miss Lydia, and she's like, oh, she's like, oh, I'm doing a normal mug. And I was like,
yep.
She's going home. I was like, that's the moment I was like, she's going home.
Yep.
She's going home.
I was so like, when I saw that she was, honestly, when I saw that she was not going to do her like style of drag, like that she was going the glamorous, whatever, she was not doing her.
Yeah.
I was like worried. But then when she said that she was not doing that and that she cannot sew, I was like, baby, do what you know. I would rather she had done her style and what she knows and would have gone home for that.
Yeah.
And for them not seeing the glamour in that or the opulence in what she does her way.
Yeah.
Than to go, spoiler alert, than to go like this. You know what I mean?
I agree completely.
It was so devastating to see her struggling because like we see what she's capable of when she does what she knows. And she can create incredible things. And it's just so heartbreaking to see such a creative person struggling like that. It broke my heart.
I agree.
And then layering that with her, like her story of her family, just even worse. I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
Yeah.
But shall we go to the runway? With our beautiful, beautiful judging panel, Ru looking like RuPaul.
Looks good. Beautiful gowns.
She is indeed looking like RuPaul. She is looking like RuPaul. Michelle in a very skimpy dress that she can easily get out of so she can get into her second bathing suit of the season. I am happy that we are getting a different bathing suit every episode. I, for one, am very excited. It's very camp, and I live for it. Miss Maddie. This is the first time, and I love T.S. Madison with every fiber of my being. I do. This is the first time I've ever seen her on Drag Race where I don't like what she's wearing.
Me too. And you know what it is? Because I don't.
The boot.
I like the dress. It's the boot.
It's the boot.
It's not just the boot, because the boot with something else in a different scenario, not for this, but the boot can work with styling, with another outfit. But together, no. I mean,
the headshot though.
Knee up, she looks great.
Well, I was gonna say tits up. Like when she's behind the judging panel. Love the close up, the hair here and the mug, gorge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not loving this chaotic print on her. That's what it is for me.
Okay.
I'm not loving it. That's just me, though. I love me some Maddie. I'm very happy she was here.
So see, we disagree because that's good because I do like the dress. I like this dress.
Fair. Yeah. And our extra special guest judge, Sandra Bernhard. I love this woman. I love her. I love her so fiercely. She's someone that I've wanted to see on Drag Race for a long time. It's a shame she wasn't here for an acting challenge.
Right?
Like,
or I think any kind of comedy, whatever, like
any
improv, whatever.
Why wasn't she here next week? Literally one episode later.
Probably scheduling, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Probably scheduling.
Yeah. But I was so happy.
I love this suit so much.
Oh, this suit is everything.
The cut
for me.
of this pant, I want those pants. I need those pants.
I'm like, whoever styled her in this, y'all did the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all did your good ones with Miss Bernhard here on this occasion today. So,
absolutely.
Period. Now, Our category for this here runway was monopulence. And obviously we're going to talk about the looks and look over here. But I want to give a little bit of an overall.
You own everything.
You own several properties. Woo! Did you see that reel of shout out to Penny Vodka? Where she's like, every time since the alter ego lip sync, I'm just going around my house going.
I mean, that is just me regularly, even before. Like that's just me. So I relate.
A period.
But not for this. Not for that reason. It's just
Fair.
yeah.
Fair.
In out. That's me.
In out. I
in out.
I want to talk very briefly about the challenge overall. Who we thought were top 3 and bottom 3.
Okay. My top 3 were Sam, in that order. Sam, Lydia, and Ariete. Actually, I gave Lydia and Ariete the same score, so technically they were tied for me for second, but those were my top 3 for sure.
Okay.
And bottom were Lucky, unfortunately, Joella, and technically from my scores, Corey. Even though I didn't think she did bad, but from everything that we had, it was my third least favorite, you know?
Yeah. So I'm gonna completely agree with your bottom 3. I have the exact same bottom 3. It is, for me, I would have ordered them differently. For me, my least successful look was Joella's. So it would have been Joella at the absolute bottom, then Lucky. Then by technicality, I do agree with you. It would have been Corey. But as the girls said in Untucked, there's no universe for me that with the presentation that she gave, especially on the runway, there was no universe Corey was going to be in the bottom 2. Unless they really just wanted to send one of the girls home.
No, unless one of the other bottom 2 did like close to what she did and not like clearly worse. You know what I mean? If anyone was near the same level of what she did, she could have maybe been in the bottom 2. But not in this scenario.
Neither of them did, no.
But I did love oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you go for it.
Because I forgot you didn't say your top.
Oh, yeah. The top is where it's interesting. I have a lot of scores that are very, very similar. I think for me, there were, 7 people that did really, really well in this challenge. And so a lot of the scores are really, really up there for me. My top 3 for this challenge, I think we only have one in common, which I think is very fun. My top 3 were Jules, Hormona. Despite the Rhinestone Gate, I had Hormona and Lydia.
Okay, yeah. Lydia was like, when she was called safe, I screamed. I literally screamed at my TV, Lydia is safe?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, anyway.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But I also, I think for me, Sam did exceptionally in this challenge. I think Crystal did great in this challenge. Anya did great in this challenge.
Yes.
Ariete did great in this challenge. Yeah, that's literally 7. So those were the top half for me. And then there were 4 girls that did perfectly fine. And then there was Cody, and then there were the bottom 2. That's how it went for me in this challenge.
Just so you have like a little an idea, like besides my bottom 3, everyone else got a 79 or up or better.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
But I did really love that they didn't judge it in like each color, like the best yellow, the best green. Like I love that
even though when we get our tops and bottoms, we end up with one person from every color
from each color
in the top and bottom. And I love that just kind of happened. Because I think for me, especially amongst the top 7, I was really like, okay, amongst my top 7 at least, any of them could have been in the top and I would have understood. Like, it was a very, very, it was very
close.
It was very, very
Everything
close.
was very, very close, very balanced.
But overall, I will say this is one of the more successful design challenges on a whole we've had in a while on Drag Race, and I was really impressed with the girls' ability.
On a first season, like not All Stars, yes, for sure, one of the best, like overall results.
I still think of recent history, the best one still is Down Under season 4, because that design challenge.
I think so too.
Like that's the quality level that no one flopped that challenge. No one. Here we did have, unfortunately, 2 flops, but
yes,
but yeah. So we are going to talk about the looks in their entirety over on Look Over Here. So make sure to check that out when we do. But I want to talk about Untucked real quick.
Before we get into that, I just want to mention the comment that TS made.
Oh, and Corey, the runway, yes. Please.
Calling her a cheap prostitute. I lived. And Corey was like, well, yes.
Well, yes, that is. So you've met my sister.
Like, you've met my sister. You got me.
You've met my sister playing Jane, so you know. So you're in the know. Got it. Period. Yes. I do love RuPaul just being fully obsessed with Anya too. Like that makes me so happy.
The attitude is everything. Like the way that she sells and like presents is very
It's like every season there's one girl that Ru like really, really connects to, like almost spiritually in that way.
For no specific reason, right? Like for a random unknown reason.
And the interesting thing is that they always end up being a finalist but not winning. That's like the weird thing, because I think this season I think it's Anya, which hey might bode well for Anya. Last season it was Saphira. The season before that, it was Lux. And I would say the season before that, 14, I think it was probably Angie.
Yeah, and before that, it was Crystal. Method.
Yeah. And who was 13? Who would have been? Well, 13, it probably would have been.
Oh, 13, yeah. I don't know. Simone. No, Gottmik.
It would have been Simone.
It was Gottmik, for sure.
Oh, it was Gottmik, of course. It was Gottmik.
I mean, and she's still going to the parties.
Exactly. Come on now. I do love that the last 4 seasons, though, it's been a fabulous Black queen that I'm obsessed with. So that makes me very happy.
And maybe that is one of the reasons that RuPaul relates, because they do share, in a way, a lot of the same experiences. And
exactly.
And it is what, like, for example, with Anya, what RuPaul mentioned that kind of attracted RuPaul to Anya was that attitude that she gave on the first runway. And so it is very, like, it spoke to RuPaul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, so
let's talk about Untucked. Yes, baby.
Let's talk about Untucked. We start with this really cute moment. I hope it's a continual moment. Oh, I forgot about continual moments. I'm gonna jump back to the elimination day beforehand. Circling back. I do love that we are getting our weekly Lydia and Corey showmance check-in. They have to we got to get that one moment in.
Sprinkle that in.
We're getting a little bit of the sprinkling of, hey, these two like each other. Lesbian.
Hey, viewers.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Yeah, bear that.
Butthole is an accurate nickname for Miss Lydia. Let's say that.
I mean, come on.
Oh, I love my lesbian mother, so let me make that very, very clear.
Oh, I've been watching the vlogs. I'm obsessed.
Oh my God. If you all, okay, sorry, another Corey King plug. Sorry.
Tangent.
But if y'all are not,
absolutely.
If y'all are not tuning in to Corey King's YouTube channel, you are missing.
Only getting half the story.
You are only getting half the story. You are missing so much good content. And I love that even though she is on the season right now and she is so damn busy, Corey is still vlogging her experience as a Ru girl. Those are the things that I really, really love to see, because I love knowing a little bit more about the inner workings of what's going on in a queen's life, especially I love having that little bit of insight. I love that behind the scenes. I love having that little bit of an insight while she's on the show. I think that's really, really fun. Her DragCon UK vlogs were so fun. Go check out Corey. She's doing the damn thing.
It's great because it for me it's enjoyable to watch, because it doesn't feel like she's doing that because she has to. It's because she likes doing it.
Because
It's
she
like
wants
it
that.
doesn't feel like she's like doing it because she needs money or what, or the views or whatever. It's like,
And she was
yes,
doing
she
it
does
before
need that,
Drag
but
Race too.
she enjoys it. Yeah, exactly.
She was
That's
doing
what I'm
it.
saying. It hasn't changed. The attitude about it hasn't changed. Her vlogs and her energy doing the vlogs is the same as it was before. So I feel like she still enjoys
Absolutely.
it in the same way. And I love that.
I live.
I love that.
I
Yeah.
live. So we start Untucked with our beautiful eating with Lana moment.
The
We've
little
got
mukbang.
special. Yes, we've got our mini mukbang. I love, and I wasn't here last week to talk about it, but I love, love the way that they've restructured Untucked this season.
With
Where
the hand cameras that they can
we
like
love,
do.
it's literally a phone. They literally just have a phone going at all
Not me
times.
saying hand camera.
Not hand camera, girl.
Am I like 6 years old? What the fuck?
Yes, I think you are actually. Let's rewind. Circling back, I love the way they're doing Untucked this season because it feels like classic Untucked. Like they have their moment together. The girls are separating off and doing their own things. The way that they've restructured the Untucked lounge too, where there are like separate areas for people to go off and talk. Like I just think it's really, really fun.
But it's still small enough that you can't speak too loudly that the bitch in the other side of the room will hear you. And so it gives great drama as well. Because sometimes the girls feel like they're speaking low enough, but they're not. And then they're gagged.
Exactly.
Great.
But yes, we get our mini mukbang with Lana and Acacia having a heated Pop-Tart. I thought I didn't know how weird this was because I grew up not heating up Pop-Tarts.
I've never had that. I know what it is, but I've never. I don't know.
I thought that was kind of just like a normal thing that people did until I started dating my boyfriend, and he was like, "You're eating a Pop-Tart out of the package," and I was like, "Yes, I am." Now I have heated Pop-Tarts in the past, and they are very delicious, but I'm not used to that. So that's with me. Anyway,
it's verse.
Yes, ma'am. So we are, the girls are talking about how they feel to be safe. Lexi is like, I would love to be out there getting a critique, but at the end of the day, I am not out there lip syncing for my life, so I'll take it. And I'm like, yep, fair enough.
That's the energy.
We get a scotch of a rehashing of Rhinestone Gate, and it's basically just Hormona going, yeah, I was mad. I'm not really that mad anymore. Because actually, it kind of turned out for the best, and there's this like scaling effect on my gown. And hey, Lexi, I love you, girl. And I'm like, yep, good.
And Lexi was like, I love you too. They hugged, and it was like, you know what I mean? I love that. I love that.
I didn't need my mothers fighting. There's so many mothers this season. I have 4 mothers on this season.
It's a mother off.
It's a mother off, honestly.
And but I really did love that moment just because, like I said before, like it felt like Hormona was like, okay. It felt like she realized that she was mad at Lexi just for being the messenger. But what she was actually mad at was that she had to what she had to do. It had nothing to do with Lexi, so it's like, why am I going to be mad at a friend for doing what she felt was right?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And then we get a moment, and I kind of want to talk about both moments with Crystal together because it's the same conversation, just one is without Anya and one is with Anya. But Crystal is a little plucked about not being in the top, and I understand that because she did have a very good garment. Her garment was very good. It was well constructed. For me, I don't think ultimately she would have been in my top, but I could have seen a universe where she was. But she's a little plucked that specifically Anya is in the top. And she's thinking that either herself, Jules, or Lydia should be in the top over Anya. And I get that completely. And she's talking about it. And she says in the first moment, and I'm going to say this in front of her because I want her to know this is how I'm feeling. Cut 2, the top girls come back, which literally happens right after this conversation.
Yes.
And when they break off, Crystal straight up tells Anya, yeah, I don't think you should have been in the top. Take away the accessory, take away the performance. It's a slip dress. And this is the part that I loved the most, even though it was shady as all hell. But this is the moment I loved the most when Crystal goes, if I take you out of the garment, if that garment is sitting on a rack, I'm going to throw it away.
I wrote that quote down and I was like, that I don't agree with that, but that was so gaggy that she said it. And ooh. It was, look,
but
that's
here's the
wild.
thing.
That is,
Is
she wrong though? I wouldn't throw it away. I would wear that dress. But do I think, look, I didn't put Anya in my top 3. So she was a close fourth, truly. Because she was great. It was great.
She was great.
It looked great. And that's why I opened up the episode saying that it's a design challenge. It is not a sewing challenge. So I do at the same way that I understand what Crystal is saying, and I understand what Akasha said in the first episode, that she said, like, I did a real talent. But the point of the talent show is to entertain, not to be the most technically talented.
Not to show the most technical talent.
Exactly. It's the name of things don't necessarily they're not necessarily literal. So that's
On that side note, I wish they would go back to calling it a variety show, because talent show gives it a different. Also, I love that you call her Akasha. because
she broke the dawn.
Because she broke the dawn.
It's iconic. It's iconic. How do you say it? Acacia?
Acacia.
Thank you. Okay.
Because it's a flower or a tree or something.
I don't know.
Thank you, commentary in the background. It's a tree.
Nice. Okay.
I love having my roommate in the background just answering questions for me. Thanks, Lucas. Shout out to Lucas. But yes. But
I understand, and I see where Crystal is coming from.
Yes, absolutely. My favorite part about this is Crystal is straight up just like, if I take you out of this, this is not something that I live for. And Anya's like, I get it. I'm living for this. And I love too that Anya's like, well, I've got the girls plucked. I've got the girls pressed. And that's all right for me, because I love that the bitches are nervous that I'm here.
Because now she knows that from this point on, it's basically in RuPaul's hand. So she doesn't really need to worry at all. Personally, for her as a person, maybe it matters what people think of her, what her peers think of her. But in this competition, at the end of the day, what the girls think doesn't matter. For the competition, for you as a person, that's different.
Exactly.
But it doesn't make a difference in how well she's going to do in the competition. You know what I mean? And it might even help her, because if production sees that her being there is making the girls mad, they're going to keep her longer if she's not doing as well. You know what I mean? So, and she's making her name justice. You know what I mean? She's on the nerves.
And I live for it. I love every moment of it.
Because when she said to Crystal, like, I love it, I think she was thinking, like, I love that you sew better than me, and I was still in the top and you're mad. That's what she said in my head. That's what she said. It was like, you know what? I'm living that you're mad that I did better than you.
That is kind of exactly what she said, though.
It's
Let's
so
be real. Like, it's so good. I live for it. But yes, so
am I still mad that she stole the trims? Yes, I'm still on Jules' side on that one. But I was living for every part of this.
I live. So the top and the bottom girls come back into the workroom, and immediately Joella breaks down.
The sobbing.
The sobbing
while calling herself an icon is camp. It was so funny.
I just feel like when girls come into this competition and they're an icon of their local scene, I just feel like I'm not doing as well as I wanted to. And I'm nervous for the girls back home to see it. And I'm worried about everything. And all of the girls around her just
girls were literally like, the reactions were, it was
the Anya
so
cut
funny.
to camera, the cut to camera that several of them had, and then Corey, they pan over to Jules, and Jules is just like, the fuck? And Corey's sitting there just like, I lived.
So good.
Like, at the end of the day, y'all can say what you want about Joella. We all have our opinions about Joella, but she is giving that good delusional tea that I'm kind of living for it a little bit.
It's entertaining as hell. Like,
It is.
is her drag my favorite? No. Is
No.
she still a good drag queen? Yes. But just because it's not for me doesn't
As
mean it's
we
not good. You know what I mean?
heard, as we heard in the Canada's Drag Race finale from our icon, our unofficial auntie, oh my god, it does not matter necessarily what happens on the race. Getting on Drag Race is a sign that you are talented. Period.
Period. End of story. End of
Joella would
story.
not have gotten on Drag Race if she was not talented. We are just not seeing the extent of her talent currently. But that does
On
not
this
mean she's not.
program.
On this program, we're not seeing the extent of her talent right now. But that does not mean she's not talented.
Because here's the thing, we're just not seeing her drag talent yet. So far, we're seeing bits and pieces of it. But what she is talented at is making good TV. And she is one of the most, is she my favorite this season? No. But she's one of the most entertaining. She's the person that when she opens her mouth, I want to hear what she has to say. You know what I mean?
Right.
I always am excited when Joella is on the screen and is about to say something. I live.
Exactly.
And the season would not be as good if she was not in it. I will say that. Period.
Yep, I agree.
End of story. That's it.
I agree. We get Lucky breaking down as well, feeling like a failure. I felt real bad.
Yeah. But what I did love is how immediately everyone was supporting her, but especially after she was like, she broke down a little bit more and she was like, I can't go home first. And then it cut to Hormona like literally crying and shaking her mouth like when she's about to, you know what I mean? I felt that because same.
I felt that.
And then, but Susie, like having this sensibility to be like, I don't think it's the best for you to be around everyone, right? Like, do you want to take a break? Do you want like less people around you and less attention on you, all of that? She didn't say that, but that's what she did, and pull her to the side. And
I loved it.
immediately, the first thing out of her mouth is, we support you. We are rooting for you. We want to see you perform. We want to see you do well. We love you. And it was just like, I cried when Susie, in that moment, like, I was like, that's a fucking friend.
Yeah.
I've been emotional. Like, that was so, because she saw what Lucky needed and she was like, I'm gonna help my friend right now. You know what I mean? I lived.
I lived for it. I absolutely loved it.
I already loved Susie, but like, I just in not outside of the challenges, not that she's not doing well, but like, I love her so much, like on the workroom, like with the girls, like all of that, the personality, like just her.
Agreed.
I love.
Agreed. We get Sandra Bernhard comes back. There's not much like super fun. Like she's kind of there. She has a conversation with the girls. It's cute. Whatever. Like
it's more like the girls were happy to see her because she is an ally. I don't know if she is part of the community, but
she's an ally.
She's an ally. Okay. And has highlighted drag queens throughout her career, like not only when it became trendy, like before, when it was still a big thing for the community. So like I like that, and I really liked the moment when she was getting political. I always love that because to me, any art is political. To me, everything is political when you are socialized as a woman, even though I do not gender myself as that. That everything is political. Or if you are a person of color, you know what I mean? So I just love that she highlighted that because I think we need to remember that all the time and stick together.
I agree.
Especially now.
I agree. And then Joella, once again, being a little shady bitch, goes up to Lucky and goes, I just feel really bad because I know I'm going to be here next week. And it really sucks that you and I are in this position right now. And I'm like, at this moment, in this exact moment, I was like, I would like to forget the Ella. I don't want to remember the Ella. I don't acknowledge the Ella. Because, girl, there is no I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real for a second. There is no reason. There is absolutely no reason for her to do that. This is
No,
the
because
one
it
moment I
wasn't
was
even
like,
good
there's
TV.
no reason.
This was not good TV. It was not fun to watch. It was not. This was just.
It felt malicious.
Knowing
I'll be
everything
honest.
about what
It felt
it
malicious.
felt mean. It felt mean. It felt mean. It felt like it was okay. I don't want to be too much, but like let's just say it was very unnecessary.
Agreed.
Very unnecessary. Yeah. The timing of it all. You know what I mean? Like it's not. Yeah. That's not. No.
No.
Anyway.
And then I do love.
Like.
I do love juxtaposing that. I do love Lana and Corey back in their little corner that I love. Both of them going, I need Lucky to win this. This is karma coming back around. The fourth mention this episode of that damn moment in Untucked last week where Joella answered Lana's question.
Please. If I hear about it one more time, I'm on edge.
You know we're gonna hear it next week, River. That's the problem. You know we're gonna hear it next week.
Please.
But and then we talked a lot about who goes home already, but we'll talk about it here shortly. The one thing I noticed in this Untucked, there was no packing sequence. They're not showing the girls packing anymore.
Right.
Like, you know how they
like
used to
the
do
letters
at the end of Untucked?
and the things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, we're not doing that. Oh,
and the getting in the van. Yeah.
So that shows me that here's the thing. That shows me that all of these Untucks this season are going to be worth the entire 28 minutes that they give them.
Yes.
And I can't wait. I can't wait.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh. And I think that's why they didn't have the judge come in for Untucked last week, because Doechii didn't go into Untucked.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe she did, and we didn't see it because there was already enough in Untucked, and then so I'm excited for Untucked this season.
I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Period. Yeah.
Let's talk about our results, River. So we have our top three being Arietti, Anya, and Sam. Love. Yes. Big fan.
Could have been other people, but I'm not mad at all. This definitely makes sense.
100%. 100%. Yes. Our challenge winner this week is Miss Sam Star.
Yeah. Can I just point out, when we did our, I think it was the Instagram that Sam commented on our video.
Yeah.
I commented back and I said, I just know you're going to kill the design challenge. And she
Julie.
won. I'm just saying, Julie. I'm a witch.
You are. I think you are.
I knew.
I know. Our bottom three ends up being Corey, Lucky, and Joella. Corey, I would say by proxy, pretty much. With the clear, by technicality, with the clear bottom two of the episode being Lucky and Joella. The girls are lip syncing to "The Way You Love Me" by Paula Abdul.
Bringing back the queen.
Was the last time we got a Paula Abdul lip sync Vibology?
No, because Vibology was season 6. We had.
I'm trying to remember.
I think it was. No,
I'm trying to remember.
Because we had Cold Hearted, we had Vibology, and before this, there was one more. No, Straight Up now. Tell me,
but that was season 3.
Yeah,
season 3, season 5, season 6.
It was.
It's been 11 years since we've had
If it wasn't, let us know in the comments, but I think so.
Please let us know in the comments, because I am definitely under the impression right now that it was. But I love that we're going back to Paula Abdul, and the way that they do these things usually now for Drag Race means that there is a high likelihood that we are going to get another Paula Abdul lip sync either on this season or All Stars 10, and that makes me very happy.
Because they usually get 2 per artist, right?
Yeah, 2 per artist for like the block that they have for Drag Race for the main season and for All Stars. So I mean, I'm living for it. But
we might be getting Paula on All Stars 10.
Or later this season in Lollapalooza, who knows? Regardless, I'm thrilled. But This lip sync certainly happened.
Yes. And here's my thing. Where were the sisters in Untucked to tell Lucky to glue those shoes on?
Oh my God.
Why were you not sisters? Because she could have, if she, honestly, I honestly think if Lucky had not lost her shoes and had done most of the lip sync without shoes, I think she could have stayed.
Honestly.
Because I don't think she did worse than Joella. She missed a few words on the second verse. Like after the first chorus, she did miss a few, like a sentence.
Yeah.
She didn't know exactly. I talked. But I don't think she did that much worse than, like, it was very close.
Here's the thing.
What do you
I
think?
love Lucky. I love Lucky. If I were choosing who to stay between Lucky and Joella in this scenario, for me it would have been Lucky, mostly because her design challenge look, for me, was a little bit better than Joella's. I will say that. In this lip sync, though, for me, I can't give it to Lucky. I can't, unfortunately. There's just a compounding of things, and I think Joella gave a very, very good lip sync. I will say that. She knew the words. She had the movements down. It was very 80s. It was very Paula Abdul. I was actually really impressed with Joella in this lip sync. It was still a little messy. She had her messy moments, and her like cape thingies were not really working as much as I would have liked to see them work. The problem for me is I think Lucky just got in her own way. And we heard her in confessional in the lip sync going, I'm throwing everything at the wall right now. And I'm like, baby, that's not what you need to be doing. I would have
Because
much
the energy
rather.
was desperation.
The energy was desperation. And when you have a clean, polished lip sync that may not be the most entertaining lip sync in the world versus a very, very chaotic lip sync where everything is happening, shoes are falling off. Like, I appreciated the stunts that she tried to do, but they were all a little crunchy. It just ultimately, for me, unfortunately, there was no universe where I would have given the win to Lucky, given the performance that we had. And that's not to discount her talent or Joella's either. I do think Joella served a very good lip sync. For me, I do think Joella won the lip sync.
I fully agree. And I'm just saying, I'm in denial. I love Lucky so much. I am so sad. I'm just saying, like, I wanted to start with the positive because I do.
Yeah.
With what we saw.
Yeah.
I would definitely, Joella won this lip sync. But I'm saying, like, in a different universe, if Lucky maybe had not lost her shoes.
Yeah. I think
maybe, but
if she didn't lose the shoe and if she cleaned up the performance a little bit more, I think it
a
could
little
have been
bit,
more.
just a little.
I think it could have been closer. Yeah. Especially given that Lucky was third in the Rated Queen results from
and
one.
RuPaul loved it.
RuPaul loved
that's
it.
The thing.
So,
RuPaul lived. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think there was a compounding of things that really unfortunately meant that our pork chop this season is Lucky Stars, and that genuinely gags the fuck out of me.
I think it gagged most of us. Truly.
Yeah.
Because, and honestly, that's the thing. I wish, like I said, I wish she would have, if she were to go home first, I wish it was for doing her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't in this way.
I agree.
But here's the thing. Two possibilities. She can come back for any All-Stars or Versus or whatever, or Pork Chop season. Because we're waiting for the Pork Chop season, and I would love to see it.
I would love to see it. Yeah, I think
look at how many amazing queens we have that went home first. Yeah. Lucky included.
Yeah. I think now given the pork chops that we have that have not yet come back on Drag Race, previously, like, top of my list to come back would have been James. But now we've had James back on Drag Race. For me, top of the list, like, I have 3 now, top of the list as far as pork chops are considered. And it's Lucky, it's Tempest du Jour, and it's Kelly Mantle.
Oh, Kelly, yes. And Kimora Hall. Hello.
Oh, Kimora, yeah.
Kimora, please.
I love Kimora Hall with every fiber of my being. Do we think she would be successful at Drag Race now? I don't
know, but I would love to see it.
Valid. I would love to see more Bob Mackie fashion, but
yes.
Ultimately, Lucky does. We get the Badonkadunk tank. Lucky pulls number 3, and it does not work out for her. I still genuinely think it's 1 in 7.
Me too, but like this, last week I didn't like it. I didn't like the stunt, period. Even if it was like a different queen that didn't get eliminated last week, like it's not, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way that they did it because here's the thing. Last week, because no one went home, it was like, okay, I didn't like it, but like, fine. This week, I hated it so much because it felt so mean and dismissive of Lucky because she lost, had to humiliate herself and pull that fucking lever, not get saved. And then while RuPaul was telling her that she was being eliminated, was doing an ad for the sponsor. Like, oh, you get eliminated, but also you win a trip to Vegas because we need to put the sponsorship right here when I'm telling you to go home. Like, but here's your consolation prize. You're going to Vegas. Like, I hated the way that this happened.
I hated it.
I don't know if it's just me and I'm heated, but like, I just hated it. What do you think?
It felt very dismissive. It felt very, very dismissive. Okay. And then for Lucky to just get Lucky Stars, you are and will always be a valuable member of the Drag Race family. Like, the fuck?
Was that written by AI? Like, what the fuck is going
on? Probably.
Oh my god, I hated this. I hated the way that she was. Yeah.
But we love Lucky. We love you, Lucky.
Yes. Period. Love Lucky.
Love
Lucky.
Love Lucky. Well, that has shaken up the draft a little bit. Ooh.
Well.
So, currently sitting in 8th place is Brandon with 13.5 points. Brandon and David are now the first 2 people to lose a draft member this season. So that is that on that. Currently sitting in 7th is me with 15.5 points. I made a big comeback after last week, and I'm thrilled for that. Currently sitting in 6th place is David with 16.5 points. In 5th is Sugar with 19 points. In 4th place is Lana with 19.5 points. Currently in a tie for 2nd place with 20 points each are River and Kamorian. And currently leading the draft with 23 points is Brooke.
Work. Okay. I think this is the best that I'm doing in a draft, just because I'm used to losing my members like by the 4th episode. By the 4th episode, I usually have just one person on my team. So I'm happy. I'm happy.
You have
Lexi, Corey, and Arietti.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, this time I feel like I chose well. Finally.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right. Next week, we're getting a commercial group acting challenge where it's kind of like the
You ugly bitch.
You ugly bitch. The challenge from season 5 where they redid Untucked moments. It's kind of like an amalgamation of both of those challenges. Yeah. I'm hoping that my girl will come through in this challenge. I hope. I pray.
The meme queen seems like the perfect fit for this challenge.
Seems like the perfect fit for this challenge. I hope.
And that makes me worried because that's when we're gagged usually. So I'm on edge. But that's good. I like to be excited for next week.
Yeah, definitely. So that is where we're going to leave off for this recap episode. Thank you for joining us for this season 17 recap. Make sure to check out our look over here where we will be talking all about this monopulized runway. In the meantime, subscribe, like, and share. Check out the description below where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our other YouTube channels, our Patreon, our social media, and where you can get your merch, including but not limited to cup mug. With all that being said, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. So cheers.
Cheers.